And welcome to the Thriftway ATP Championships in Cincinnati, Ohio, on a sweltering afternoon where the temperature is high in the 90s. And the first semi-final is world number 1, Andre Agassi, seeded 1, against the number 13 seed from Sweden, young Thomas Enqvist, who has been having such a wonderful season. And this promises to be a real test for both men. Young Enqvist here is only just behind Magnus Larsson, who is the number 12th ranked player in the world, as the best of the Swedes, and it would be a triumph if he could overtake Larsson. He's 21 years old, lives in Monte Carlo, and has a world ranking, you'll see, of 13, one behind Magnus Larsson. And he's won 46 and lost 14 matches in 1995. This heavy whipped topspin forehand does most of the damage. And his best results here, these 3 tournament wins in Auckland, Philadelphia and Pinehurst, and the final in Los Angeles just recently. But he has a terrific talent. I first saw him when he won the junior event at Wimbledon. But he's playing today the number 1 player in the world, who's at 25 in his physical prime. He's had the most wonderful year, which began well for him out in Australia, where he took the title for the first time on his first visit, and not many people do that. And there are the titles that he's won besides Australia: Key Biscayne, that's the Lipton tournament, San Jose, Washington, and Montreal. And it was in Montreal that I last saw him, the Canadian Open. And he played so very well there to beat Pete Sampras in the final, having lost the first set. So this is how he got to his appointed place here in today's semi-final. Jared, Wheaton, Semerink and Ivanisevic, his victims, and dropping just that 1 set against the number 6 seed, the left-hander from Croatia, Ivanisevic. So it's been a wonderful week for a player who many people think will soon become the best Swede on the circuit. But Andre Agassi today has played just 3 matches to get here, lost that extraordinary love set to Beresategi, the number 16 seed, in the round of 16. But yesterday was far too good for Furlan, as he had been for Vicek in the second round. Of course, the seeds here, the top seeds get, or the higher seeds get, a bye in the first round. So he's just played his 3 matches to Enqvist's 4. Well, it's perhaps a surprise to think that Enqvist leads 2-1 in their head-to-head meetings, but Agassi won emphatically in Indian Wells shortly before his victory at the Lipton tournament. And at Indian Wells, in fact, he lost to Sampras in the final. And that was the second of their meetings in this year, 1995. The final of the Australian was the first. And they would meet again in that Lipton final, where, again, it was a victory for Agassi. The humidity today is going to be the big factor. 34 degrees, that's what, about 93, something like that, 94. And the humidity, 82%. And certainly yesterday, Michael Chang, in his match, a night match, was having to change his shirt frequently when he was beating Jim Courier. They both were. 3-6, 7-6, 7-5, Chang beat Courier, and they had such trouble keeping a grip on the racket with the sweat running down their arms. So a punishing day physically for both of them. And it remains to be seen which of them is the fitter, which of them is the stronger, and which of them is the more determined, because it's going to take tremendous determination to play through this intense heat. And a lot of the spectators during the days here have been using umbrellas or sunshades, or parasols as well. And frankly, it is just amazing to me that the players have been able to produce the sort of form that they have in these punishing conditions. It's a hard court we're playing on, a traditional American hard court. That's a sort of asphalt surface. Those two-tone greens make it very easy to see the ball. And I think we're in for a bit of a treat here, because young Enqvist has had the most wonderful season. This is his first Thriftway ATP Championship semi-final, and the second year he's played here. He's 21, and as I say, he's had those 3 wonderful wins. And this is what they're playing for. The loser today will take away $70,000, and will the winner will be playing for tomorrow's 2 prizes of $254,000 and $130,000. And as well as that, the 340 points to be won at this tournament will be very important to all of them, because it is the ATP Tour ranking system which gains access to all tournaments and decides the rankings and the seedings. So Agassi is still well ahead of Sampras, having overtaken him in April for that #1 spot, which they both covet. And Sampras has made no secret of the fact that he is determined to regain that #1 spot. So the cloud has blown away again, and the sun is beating down in all its ferocity. And frankly, it's not the sort of day on which many people would want to play tennis. They'd be much rather sitting by a pool with a large beer beside them. And here he is, the man in the chair is Norman Christ from Scottsdale in Arizona. Shaded by that canopy over the top of the umpire's chair, and the fans will be fanning themselves, and who could blame them? It's going to be an ordeal watching this match, let alone playing. And talking of fans, the players have even had fans beside their chairs on the court to try and circulate the air around them as they sit at the changes of ends. So almost ready to start. And it's going to be Thomas Enqvist to open this first semi-final. Oh, well played. That's his trademark shot, that huge forehand, rather like Agassi's, in fact. So Agassi now knows what it feels like playing him. I'm surprised he's not wearing a hat. Strong legs this young lad has, and they'll need to be strong today. So he's been serving well all week, really. That's his 25th ace of the week.
Game, Enqvist.
So the miss hit from Agassi on his forehand, allowing Enqvist to hold serve in the opening game of the match.
Ladies and gentlemen, Children's Hospital Medical Center thanks you for your support of the Thriftway ATP Championship. For 22 consecutive years,
So there are the fans, which have been a very good idea and much favoured by the players. And I'm surprised that the sunshades aren't out again over the players. It's something which I think I first saw in Australia, where it became customary to have large umbrellas in stands, or perhaps sometimes held by the ball boys to shield the players from the burning sun. And certainly in Australia it can get equally as hot as this. And here are the shades held by the ball kids. And as a player you feel very grateful to sit there, to be shielded, even if it is for only about 75 seconds. Wonderful progress they've made here. Paul Flory and his team have built a wonderful facility, and I've seen these stands taking shape over the years. It wasn't always like this. They worked very hard, this team, to improve the facilities.
Agassi to serve.
So Agassi to serve, love one. It's the sort of day when you want to try and avoid long rallies. Agassi's just the man for these sort of conditions. Just that extraordinary match against Beresitegi that's left a slight question mark over the head of Agassi this week. That apart, he lost at love 6 the middle set. He's been perfect. Surprised, I think, by the depth of Enqvist's forehand there. Didn't move his feet at all. Ooh, no call. Well, that was so close. Too close for Norm Christ to overrule. And indeed, if he was going to overrule, he would have had to have done it immediately. Now let's have another look at this. Here it is, a lovely forehand, typical of Enqvist's play, this. Oh yes, good, no question. So a perfectly good decision. 30 all. Well, he's getting much more aware of the different values of each point. That's such an important point in which to get your first ball in, as he did.
Deuce.
A bit careless there, though. He served well this week. He's had a percentage of 68 on his first serves. That's not bad at all. In fact, it's darn good. And he's been winning 71% of those serves that do go in.
Advantage Agassi.
Well, the applause here for Agassi will give you some idea of the popularity of this man, who is perhaps the most charismatic player of the last dozen years or so, certainly since the departure of John McEnroe. Nobody has captured the public imagination like Agassi.
First serve.
Glad to see him in that headgear to protect his head from the sun, because that's where most of the damage is done in terms of sunstroke.
Game, Agassi.
Well, no call, but the ball dipping onto that line.
1 game all.
A topspin serve and a good one. Well directed. And after just a little hiccup in the middle, Agassi holding well enough for 1 game all.
Love 50.
Because Agassi's tactic is to make his opponent rush their shots, and that's what happened there. Enqvist having to hurry that backhand. So exactly the same thing happening here. Having got his man out of position, the ball is short enough for him really to thump it deep and force the error out of the Swede. Brad Gilbert, who's had such a very successful association with Agassi. Well, the end of the rally was all right for Enqvist, but I think there was a moment in the middle of it when he really should have come in. That one deep to Agassi's backhand was the exact moment for approaching the net.
30 all.
Enqvist serving hasn't been quite as successful as Agassi's. First serve percentage up to today, 59%. But when they do go in, he's been very successful. 78% of those have been won. That's where Agassi is so good, pouncing on that half chance. And here it is, and thumping it down the line. Taking it early on the rise, that's why it moved through the air so fast.
Deuce. Advantage Enqvist.
Well, that's marvellous serving. Had him guessing completely. 3 aces now.
Game, Enqvist.
So again, his favourite forehand earns Enqvist the game. Here it is in slow motion. Nice early take back, fast through the ball, and 2-1 Enqvist first set. Well, a really sweltering Saturday afternoon here for the fans. And those in the shade, and there isn't much here, but those who are lucky enough to be sitting in the shade will count themselves lucky. And the ball kid hasn't got the shade right here yet. For Enqvist, he's still feeling the sun. A little more successful, though, for Agassi, who is enjoying a really wonderful year.
Time.
And in fact, attempting to reach his 8th final on hard courts in as many tournaments on that surface this year.
Seats behind the players, please.
So the voice of Norm Christ calls the spectators to order as the temperature in the sun soars towards 120 degrees. My goodness me.
Sir, any seat?
And of course,
Thank you.
the heat bouncing off these hard courts. 1-2.
$15. $15.
Well, that Agassi error there, forced out of his racket by the power of Enqvist's forehand, and a sort of rally that Agassi himself would like to construct, and often does.
$30-15.
Very high kicking serve. Certainly it was a feature of Agassi's win over Sampras in the final of the Canadian Open a couple of weeks ago. That high kicking serve.
$40-15.
The error percentage at the moment is a little bit too high for Enqvist, and that's giving Agassi a few cheap points.
Game, Agassi. 2 games all.
So no breaks of serve. And Agassi looking very secure then, serving to a good length, getting a lot of first balls in. So a much better percentage of first serves in, 69 to 57 for Agassi.
Love 15.
They're playing each other for the 4th time today. Twice this year they've met. Enqvist won the first time in Philadelphia indoors, and Agassi, that meeting we told you about at Indian Wells on a hard court in the spring. But before that, in 1993, Enqvist had been the winner at the US Open.
Love.
And his first double fault. Perhaps he's beginning already to feel this intense heat, and it wouldn't be surprising. Another of those errors, you see, that have been disfiguring his game for the moment. Backhand long on the first point of the game, a forehand wide there, and the double fault. Love, 43 break points. Yes, Enqvist thought that was good. So 2 break points he's failed on now. There was one, you'll remember, in game 3. 30-40 Enqvist was, but he found a couple of aces at that point. Not this time. Well, that's unlike Agassi. He's usually so good at taking his chances. And certainly that has been a feature of his improvement since he started working with Brad Gilbert in the spring of last year. So the first break of the match to Agassi, thanks to the errors from Enqvist's racket. 3-2, Agassi leads first set. A real buzz around this stadium at Mason, Ohio. The Jack Nicklaus Golf Course alongside, and the fairground just across the road. So it's a great place to enjoy yourself, and certainly there's been a lot of enjoyment for the fans here this week as the ATP Tour attempts to market the game rather better than it has been marketed in the past. Still very hot, about 34 degrees in the mid-90s, and that's at shade temperature, about 120 degrees in the sun. And the added discomfort for the players of the heat rising off the asphalt surface of the court itself. So a poor service game there from Enqvist. All those errors were responsible for the loss of his serve. So Enqvist goes back to receive serve from the #1 seed and world #1 Andre Agassi, who's just achieved the first break of the match. He's 3-2 in the first set. Agassi trying to reach the final here for the first time. He was a semi-finalist back in 1993. And his record here is 10-4. 10 winning matches, 4 losses. Already looking more like a beetroot than a tennis player, Enqvist at the moment. Well, that's great tennis.
30-15.
Well, he pulls off a wonderful pass here because that was a fine volley from Agassi. And I think it would have probably been enough to win the point against most players, because even when he got there, he had to make that pass on the run.
40-15.
And certainly he begins to look to me like a man who is wilting in this violent heat. There's no other word for it.
Game, Agassi. Agassi leads 4-2.
And he's such a good front runner, is Agassi. So Enqvist now has a terrific job to do. Certainly it was the sun that was largely responsible, I felt, for the demise yesterday of the number 2 seed and world number 2 Pete Sampras, who lost to Michael Stich 6-7, 7-6, 6-1. Certainly in the final set there was very little energy left. Well played. First time he's been to the net. And actually he's quite a good volleyer. When he won the junior event at Junior Wimbledon in his last year as a junior, he volleyed quite well. Just swung a little early. It's his third semi-final of the year, this. Enqvist. In fact, the third in as many weeks. He's had a marvellous run recently. Third round in Washington. Well served. Semi-finalist in Montreal. And then a finalist last week in Los Angeles. It was Michael Stich who beat him there.
Fault. I saw fault. He was unsighted.
Well, that's clear enough.
40-50.
So the double fault is second. And that a typical Agassi point, forcing on the return of serve. Nobody does it better.
Deuce. Advantage Enqvist.
Trying bravely to hang on here. But Agassi's given him very few free points, 2 in this game, mind you.
Game, Enqvist.
Yes, well served.
Agassi leads 4-3.
And he did well to hold on there after coming back to deuce from 40 love, and this is how he did it. Another of those good, heavy serves, keeping him just in touch in this set. But 4-3 to Agassi with a break.
Our winner is seated at Section 17. Row P, seat 8. Please check your ticket. You might be our winner. Take your ticket stub and report to the 1996 ticket sales booth located near the main entrance. And congratulations! Today's drawing winner of a free pair of Ray-Ban sunglasses is Larry Duff of Bowling Green, Kentucky. Congratulations, Larry. Please go to the LensCrafters sunglass booth to pick up your free pair.
So a lot of promotions go on during the week, as you were hearing there. Prize winners from among the spectators here today. And they're certainly working hard on all the ATP Tour events to market them better and involve the paying public. There have been fan fests, so many of the events, where the youngsters are encouraged to come and try their hand hitting tennis balls and to meet the stars, who have been very cooperative, the players, as well they should, because this, after all, is an entertainment business and they're part of the entertainment. So the first serve percentage there of Agassi, although 61 isn't as high as he's been during the week, his 82% of points won when the first serve goes in is a very telling statistic. New balls, Agassi 4-3.
First serve.
Looks very focused today, doesn't he? So important not to stay out here for a moment longer than you have to. Yes, that was an unforced error that will annoy him. He's cut down on those unforced errors since learning more about the need to use his equipment better, having worked with Gilbert for a year and a half now.
30-15.
That is in fact what he does. In the past, he was a very flashy player, was Agassi. Brilliant but erratic. Now, much more circumspect about when to attack. A little damage from Agassi there as he serves his first double fault. Oh yes,
40-30.
You could see from the moment he swung the racket at the ball that he was going to hit his winner. The ball just a little bit shorter than Enqvist can really allow. He's been keeping a good length generally.
Game, Agassi. Agassi leads 5-3.
So Agassi just doing no more than he had to and allowing Enqvist to make the error for him. So Enqvist's first serve percentage is hurting him here. That's much too low, 43. Now he's only winning half the points on his second serve. We'll see if this is going to help that percentage or not. Yes, well, he did well there because the return of serve was a violent one.
First serve.
Oh yes,
15.
perfectly placed. And here it is, the racket back nice and early, the weight going into the ball, and he launches himself in mid-air as he actually strikes it right into the corner.
No. 30-15.
Being a little bit lazy, and it's understandable on such a sweltering day, but those are the little half faults that let you down. And had that ball been in, you see, he would have stood very little chance of winning the point.
40-15.
Good deep serve there. Enqvist, who's enjoying his best career ranking at the moment at 13 after a wonderful summer, had 2 knee operations last year, so it's amazing to me that he's come back so well.
Game, Enqvist.
And with his 4th ace of the day, Enqvist stays in this set, but Agassi ahead with a break, 5-4.
The medical director recommends that you protect yourself by wearing a wide brim hat, drinking plenty of fluids, going to shaded areas at changeovers, and if you should feel weak or dizzy, go to the first aid room.
So Agassi just prompting the
at the southern end of the
holder of the
near the grandstand court.
umbrella there, just to make sure that the shade is complete. And Enqvist is being better served now. To start with, she wasn't holding it over him, but now it's all right. And certainly a very welcome respite from the searing heat of this summer sun in Ohio. And the team of lines people and ball persons, because there are boys and girls, are changed regularly, and that's a sensible thing too, because it's not just the players who suffer from the heat, it's the officials as well. So Agassi preparing to serve for the first set, leading 5-4. Let's see how many first balls he gets in this game. There's 1 in.
First serve.
And another error from the Swede, who appears to think it's something to do with the tension in his racket. I doubt if it's much to do with that. this is the man more likely to be responsible, because he's hitting so hard and accurately today. Wonderful serving from Agassi, producing 3 set points. No wonder Brad Gilbert can afford a grin.
Game first set, Agassi, 6 games to 4.
So in just 39 minutes, the world number 1 pockets the opening set 6 games to 4. So an awful lot of work to do if Enqvist is going to turn this around.
Love 15.
And after the longest rally of the match, another error from the racket of Enqvist. And that has been the difference between them today. Agassi actually hasn't tried to do too much. He's been content to keep the rallies going, putting the pressure on when the balls are short, but allowing Enqvist to make the errors for him. And that will annoy him, because he's trying to play within himself, not forcing too early, and trying to keep the ball going. Almost dying in this heat. Certainly Sampras died yesterday against Michael Stick. Once he'd lost the match point he had in the second set. And it was a good Stick serve that saved him. Sampras was really never in the match.
Second serve.
There's the daytime match yesterday. It was Chang who played at night.
Third.
It wouldn't surprise me if this was a fairly rapid set. I think Enqvist is beginning to wilt. So 2 break points in the opening game of the second set. Lovely footwork. Agassi bouncing around on his toes. One forgets just how well trained he is and how strong he is now. Such a contrast from the young man I remember as a junior, who was a bit of a... well, he was a flashy player then.
30, 40.
And not really as fit as he should have been. But thanks to Gil Reyes, the strength coach of the University of Nevada, who now, or has for many years, looked after Agassi. He's a changed man. And there is the break to open the second set. Agassi is really on a roll. Good crowds there have been this week, and certainly a lot of care has been taken to make everybody have an enjoyable visit to these championships, the ATP Thriftway Championships. And certainly Agassi looks in much better physical condition than Enqvist today. So a first set summary for you. First serve percentages much too low for Enqvist, and the unforced errors 16 to 12. I'm surprised that Agassi made as many as that. It didn't seem to me that that was the case, and Enqvist actually hitting more winners. So Agassi preparing to serve, leading 1-love, second set. Well, I think that's what he's got to do. Enqvist, take a few risks. And if you've temporarily lost sound, I must apologise. We'll try and get it back for you just as soon as we can. But a good deep serve. (30-15), 1-love, second set. Oh, that's a great Agassi forehand, typical of him. On the full run, able to control the ball to an acute angle, using topspin. Here it is, just flicking it up. Wonderful racket head control. (40-15). So Agassi's first ace today.
Agassi leads 2 games to love.
Consolidates the break of serve that he achieved in the opening game for a 2-love lead, second set. Great test of willpower now for Enqvist. Can he stay in this match? Against a man who everyone recognises as currently the best player in the world. Certainly the computer recognises it by over 1,500 points, the margin he leads Sampras by. It's uncanny, isn't it, how he can find the lines like that. Well, it's no good playing to the calls you like to hear. You have to play to the calls that you do hear. And that is a very important lesson to learn early in your tennis life. Because this ball, though it might have been long, is not called long. And here it is again. And, well, that, of course, the last shot of the rally, the winner.
40-30.
But I've been impressed with this fellow all year. He's had a pretty wonderful year, really. Winning in Auckland to win the second tournament of his year, and that was a terrific boost to his confidence. Beat some good players there too, like Brett Steven and Alexander Volkov, and in the final Chuck Adams. Yes, good serve. And a little bit of sarcasm there, a glare at the linesman who'd failed to call the ball long when he thought it should have been earlier. 2-1 though, Agassi, second set. So plenty of movement in the crowd at these changes of ends, these spectators going to and fro between those many areas on the outside of this centre court where you can purchase a cool drink. So important for the players too to keep the fluid intake up. On these very hot days we've learnt so much more about sports medicine than we ever knew in the days when I played the game just after the war in the 1950s. In those days we were told to take salt tablets during a match and then not to drink too much. Well, that is crazy, of course, because that would dehydrate you even more. So Agassi first out of the blocks to his position at the baseline, where he'll serve with this 2-1 lead. He broke in the opening game of the set, broke to 15. Forced into error again by the depth of Enqvist's reply. And throughout this week, and certainly in other tournaments this year, Enqvist's ground strokes have been spectacularly good. Agassi, who has been #1 on the computer this year for 18 weeks.
30-50. Please throw the ball back. Thank you.
Yes, it's those rather tame unforced errors that he must cut out if he's going to move to that higher plane in the top 10 in the world. The unforced errors creeping up now, 23-16. And that worthy of Agassi himself. Beautifully placed, not overhit. Well, he's hardly needed to move to the net at all today, Agassi, and he can volley quite well. And the volley he makes in the course of this rally is good enough just to embarrass Enqvist, because he has a lot of court to cover in trying to make his passing shot and misses. And with his second ace of the match,
Agassi leads 3-1.
Agassi consolidates still further. And I would have thought another break here would be good enough. Good call by the umpire.
I saw the ball clearly long.
Long? I don't think it was long, it was wide.
Love 15.
And young Enqvist a little bit unnerved by that, I think, allowing his concentration to slip. That's his third double fault. Well played, Enqvist. And he hit, in the course of that rally, 3 or 4 shots that would have been winners against most players. They all came back. Agassi running down everything. It's an admirable performance from him. You couldn't really fault Agassi today. Well played. Well, he takes his chance here. There is a gap, and he goes for it. Beautifully struck. The racket swinging through the path he intends the ball to follow. Now, I think that's probably a broken string. Agassi making the most of this little break. Second serve, 30-15. Ah.
30.
So 2 double faults now in this game, suggesting that his concentration is not all that it should be. So this is a very important point at 30 all. So yet another unforced error. I say unforced, though perhaps it would be kinder to say that the error was forced out of him by the consistency and accuracy and pace of Agassi's drives. A break point. Well, I'm struck by the number of times Agassi on break point has failed to get the ball into play or broken down in the rally. That's not like him at all.
Advantage Agassi.
So second chance for what I think would be a decisive 4-1 lead. There it is. So after just an hour of play, Agassi gets a second break to lead 4-1 in this second set. And this is how he does it, with that flailing off forehand. 4-1 Agassi, second set.
Put him around the baseline.
Well, certainly that's a very commanding lead. 6-4, 4-1 after an hour. And I would think that a lot of these players have had enough. A lot of these spectators, I mean, have had enough. Certainly Enqvist, I believe, has had enough out there now. And if he does win from 1-4 down, it will be a Herculean performance. But I've seen stranger things happen on a tennis court than that. Sometimes the man in the lead tightens on the lead or relaxes on the lead. But I don't think Agassi now, the Agassi of 1995, is going to do that. Enqvist, the faster server, by 9 miles per hour.
Seats quickly behind the players.
And the temperature now has passed 120 degrees in the sun.
Love 50.
And this time it's Enqvist who's forced to hurry by the depth and pace of Agassi's drive. So they play very similar games, these two, but Agassi does it rather better, as you'd expect of a man who's 4 years older and altogether more experienced.
First serve.
The advantage of that two-hander is that he can change the direction and yet retain control, even though he's taking the ball suicidally early, and it gives his opponent absolutely no time at all.
Game, Agassi. Ball change. Agassi leads 5-1.
So it will be the new balls as Enqvist tries to keep his hopes alive in this match, but after the break in the opening game of this second set, it seemed to me that the tide was flowing too heavily against him for him to be able to keep his head above water. Yes, it's good. It's uncanny the way Agassi finds the lines. Oh, what a miss.
15.
He's just shaking his head there. In annoyance more than anything else. It was such an easy volley. Well played.
30, 15.
And the serve doing the damage. But he hasn't got enough first balls in today.
For sure.
It's really rather rude, isn't it? Taking what was actually quite a good deep serve so early on the way in, moving in, look, taking it on the rise and hitting a winner, passing his opponent at the baseline. Back live.
40, 30.
And this time he was able to make Agassi hurry his shot.
Game, Enqvist.
Well served, Enqvist.
Agassi leads 5-1.
Keeping his hopes alive still, but only by a slender thread. 5-2, Agassi leads second set. Well, it's been a marvellous year for Agassi and a marvellous tournament for those fans here who came to see the great players in the world, and so many of them were here. The seeding list read like this: 1 Agassi, 2 Sampras, 3 Becker, 4 Chang, 5 Kafelnikov, 6 Ivanisevic, 7 Ferreira and 8 Stich. So a marvellous entry. And below were Bruguera, Krajcik, Courier, Edberg, Enqvist, he's number 13, Medvedev, Martin and Berasategui. So it's been a feast of tennis for them. And nobody has played better than the world number 1,
Time.
Agassi, trying to win this title for the first time. In fact, to go into the final here for the first time. So a very businesslike strut to the baseline. Agassi, who's hit 10 winners in the second set, 6 in the first, against Enqvist's 5 in this set, 9 in the first. Preparing to serve for the match.
$15.
And certainly today, Agassi has looked every inch the world #1. And this promising but still inexperienced young Swede will have learnt a great deal. So there it is, yet another unforced error from the racket of Enqvist, giving Agassi 3 match points. Ah,
40-50.
what a pity. It's only the second time today that he's double faulted. Pity it had to be on match point. There it is.
Agassi. 6-4, 6-2.